Hello, and in this week's episode, we will be talking about wearing sensible shoes.
We'll be talking about meeting up with real life people.
We'll be talking about falling over and getting ignored.
And we'll be doing it all in stripes. Hello, and welcome to this edition of Multiple Shenanigans. This week, it's the Stripy Stumbling edition. I'm Letitia.
I'm Jeanette.
So, Jeanette, how's your week been?
It's been really nice towards the end. Had a first proper online rehearsal with rhymes for our IRL show 2 weeks tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
2 weeks tomorrow at the lovely Metronome, which is good because you get like radio mics and it's all posh and a dressing room and everything.
I've never used a radio mic. No, that's not true. I did have one for a little while I was teaching salsa, but I didn't like it. I preferred to shout at everybody. It's easier.
Yeah, it is weird because you're like, oh, I can't quite hear myself as much as you can normally, but you still have to project into it, but you feel like that's a bit over the top. It's really odd.
So you project even though you're projecting to hear?
Yeah, but you do feel like a pop star.
And that's the key point.
That's the key. Although the first time we used it at that venue, mine didn't work and cut out and it was a bit awkward, but ever since it's been lovely.
Excellent.
Exciting. And our first rehearsal, we just slipped back into it, I'd like to think. So we're raring to go.
Brilliant. Good luck with your next IRL event.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. So you've done real life already. You're like real life pro.
Well, you know. In fact, today I did another real life activity, but it wasn't quite in real life. It was an in real life recording. That's not right, is it?
That's just exactly what real life is not.
Okay, I went to City Arts and interacted with a piece of art and then talked about it on camera.
That's real life.
Yeah.
That can be real life.
Yeah, because there were other real people in the room. Somehow talking to a camera nowadays is less weird than it was 2 years ago.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, it's like a lot easier than it might have been, definitely.
Yeah, and that one was one that had a big lens, and so you couldn't see your face, so it's possibly a bit easier.
Oh, like a big scary eye.
Well, that isn't as bad as the big scary microphone that's about here.
What was this about?
It's about a project I did nearly 3 years ago. It's a 3-year project, and it happened that the bit that I did with Michelle Mother Hubbard was at the beginning, and this is the very last thing at the end. So yeah, it was reflecting on. Imagine that, it was reflecting on something I did over 2 years ago. What was really good was, so there was some prompt questions which I answered, and they said, okay, can you just do that again? I was like, I have no idea what I said. So, and then they reminded me of the question. I said, yeah, but I still have no idea what I said. He said, don't worry about it. Just answer the question all over again and we'll just take snippets.
And it was completely different and they called you a liar.
It was completely different. And one of the questions was, is there anything specific that sticks in your mind from these workshops? They were workshops in with people living with dementia in a care home. Was there anything specific that stuck in your mind? No, I'd written down some notes to remind me when I saw the question 5 minutes before the recording. And I thought of 3 different things. I thought, I've got 3 things I can say. So then I talked about 2 completely different things, couldn't remember those things. And then after I'd finished, I remembered the one thing that I really wanted to say, but not just after I'd finished my bit, but somebody else was in the middle of their bit. So I couldn't just go, oh, and
excuse me.
Yeah. But you know, if I'd had longer to prepare, I still wouldn't have remembered by the time the camera was on. So it's fine. Spontaneous reaction.
Authenticity. People are just talking about that all the time right now. I just know that this whole thing, like people are going on about authenticity, and they're just like, yeah, you've got a really specific idea of what authenticity is. I'm pretty sure that's how this is going to go down. Oh no, we didn't want that. We want like authenticity like this, like edgy authenticity.
Yeah, they never ask you that when you're on camera. Can you think of anything that was really run of the mill that wouldn't stick out in anybody's mind? So what else have you been up to? I was asking you and I've interrupted my own.
No, it's all right. That was my highlight.
Oh, I know what I did. I went to a gig. An actual gig. I accidentally went to a gig, which is even better, isn't it?
Suddenly, like, oh.
In Nottingham, they've had a series called the Arboretum Sunsets.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's an ongoing series of where they have music from the mid-afternoon until 8:45 because it's closed by 9. I'd been umming and ahhing about going to see this particular one, but I thought, oh, no, I haven't really got the energy. I wanted to do something. It was a nice sunny day. Then I got a phone call from a friend saying another friend hadn't been able to use their ticket to the gig that I thought about going to, but was too tired to go to. So I popped along and I stayed to the end, and it was really good and it was lovely. I was a bit wary of lots of people and stuff, but it was in the outdoors, it was in the park, it was really not busy at all, and everybody was really spaced out. So I was just like sitting in a deck chair with blue sky, sunshine, and really nice music. And I was just like, this is what I've missed for 2 years. This is really nice.
I just Boots and Sainsbury's the other day, and it was like I'd been to a theme park.
Boots and Sainsbury's.
Oh, yeah. And also not TK Maxx, but what's the other one that's a bit like it, but no clothes. We wore clothes. Home Sense. I think it's the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. A retail park crawl. Crazy days.
Crazy days. We've been living the life, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
So today's a stripy episode. We both have very similar stripes you mentioned.
Yeah.
Mine's a vest top, which is quite warm when you have a jumper on top, but it requires a jumper on top. And you have a stripy top there. Do you have a story with your stripy top?
It's not much of one. It's actually rubbish. I had this top on when we first did photos for Rhymes. I feel bad now, like I'm accusing the photographer. Basically, I look dreadful in the pictures, and then they use them for everything.
Oh.
Keep seeing yourself look like you're dying. I was like, in this stripy top, that's it.
I wonder if it was to do with, because I'm just aware looking at them now, that these stripes are the sort that you're not supposed to wear on telly and on camera because it affects the lines on the screens, doesn't it? So if you move up and down slightly. Yeah.
I think it was more the dark circles under my eyes that made me wretched. I think they used it in like the Playhouse stuff. Nice.
Maybe you were in makeup as a character.
No, it was just a moody, this is the cast.
This is a cast, but I'm playing goth today.
Yeah, I'm playing like Death's Door. So obviously like loads of happy memories of the stripy top.
I think though it has to be said that some people wear a stripe well. I mean, you wear a stripe well. I've got a couple of friends who, one's French and one lives in France. Have you got any French connection? Not the shop.
No French connection, no.
Oh, I think there's a certain je ne sais quoi with the scarf that goes, it just sits there. Yeah, goes with a stripe in my mind.
Have you a story for your stripes?
These particular stripes, no. Interestingly, I was going to wear my alternative stripy outfit for the day was a stripy dress, which has got really thick chevron stripes on it, black and white. And something with the angle of my, I'm recording on my iPad today, and I can't change the angle very effectively. And although this looks really low, it's not actually that low in real life. It just looks it on screen because that's all you're seeing of me. When I put the dress on, you couldn't see any of it. I thought that's not going to work as a stripy outfit.
No.
If we do a maximum cleavage version of the show, I can wear my alternative stripy outfit.
The late night Hollyoaks version.
The late cut, yeah. So that's taken us stumbling into our topic of the day. Did you notice that?
What you did, stumbling. That was one of my early things that I did with MS. Had to go out and get new shoes to prevent stumblage because I was just like kicking them off.
Mm.
So I got some very sensible, stretchy band shoes that went across, but also some very diamante, like, I'm fine, pink and silver sparkly, but did have a strap that kept them on. Like I was going for both sides of the let's pretend this is fine and be practical, but also like fancy practical.
Fancy practical. I like that. Yeah, I've got quite a lot of flat shoes, especially in summer when my feet get hot and I'm more likely to trip, but not flappy shoes. I can't do those because I catch them often. I don't suffer with drop foot, which I know a lot of people with MS do, but I do quite often on my left foot just catch the bottom of a shoe if it's a flappy shoe. Not my right foot, so it must be everything's the left's the rubbish side. So yeah, it all makes sense. But yeah, so I have currently a pair of shoes that I got on holiday, and they're really quite comfortable, but they are not attractive. I mean, they're not unattractive, but I just feel very frumpy in them. But they're currently the only summer shoes I have. But the trouble is they're actually quite comfortable. So I have this dilemma every time I wear them. It's like, yeah, put your comfortable, sensible shoes on that you won't break it because they've got elastic over the front and around the sides as well. So I thought, yeah, I'm not going to break my neck in these, not going to fall over, not going to stumble along looking more uncoordinated than usual. But they're just a little bit.
I think I've convinced myself that I have no problems in that area anymore. But then I do tend to, like, every so often have a dragging foot. And then I'm like, oh.
I guess it's like so many MS things. It's not a problem for ages until it suddenly is. Yeah. Then you remember. I do have a couple of pairs of boots with little heels, but enough of a heel to feel like it's like, I got them both in America actually, because I blame my mother for this, that I've got quite thick calves because I've got calf muscles, because she didn't like push the pushchair, so I had to learn to walk from early age. So I developed my calf muscles from like 1.5 onwards. And so my legs have always been too fat for boots normally. So I could only ever wear like ankle boots. But these are quite proper, just below the knee boots. I got them in America because they have bigger sizes over there. Yeah. So the thing about when I actually wear them is I remember that I feel quite stable in them because they support me all the way up the leg. So I feel more supported and less likely to stumble or to go wrong in them. When I used to go ballroom dancing,
wow, yeah,
when I was a teenager, because I was a real rebel, everybody else was like punk or new wave. When I was a teenager, I was like, yeah, but I went ballroom dancing, so I'm the rebel here. Anyway, for ballroom dancing, we had these proper ballroom dancing shoes, which have a little heel, not too big a heel, because you've got to be able to get on your toes and cha-cha-cha. Yeah, I used to wear them all the time.
Stumbling. When does a stumble become a fall? Can a stumble be a fall? Falling? Right. This is my bugbear about people. The times that I have fallen over in public, people have got no time for it. I thought you'd get a bit of sympathy. But you really don't. I don't know if it's being a younger female and then like just think you're drunk or something. I remember falling in the entrance to Corner House on that like, I don't know, matty material. Nobody helped me. It was like,
The other thing though is sometimes when you fall over, people immediately try and pull you up, and then everybody says, you know, if somebody falls, don't lift them so they can get up under their own steam if they're able to, because if you pull them up, you're more likely to cause more damage. So maybe they were all being courteous.
no, they were just all ignoring me.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah.
It happened a couple of times, and at all times, people just totally ignored me. Oh, poor me, sorry. It was a shock. It was like, oh shit, people are not reacting. I wasn't like, I want a reaction, but it was something that I hadn't expected. I hadn't expected to fall over.
You haven't planned the falling.
I hadn't planned any of it. But it was a little bit like, that was worse than the falling. It was like a weird lesson.
I've done ending up sitting on the floor because your legs have just gone, rather than falling in motion. I'm not in motion, I've just kind of like, and just sat there and cried, and everybody walks around you. Middle of the day. Were you out middle of the day as well?
Well, I think it was after work one time, so like 5 o'clock.
Oh, well, they're all hungry. They're all on the way home for tea.
They're like, you must have been out early to be. You don't just think you're drunk. That's got to be
Yeah.
it.
Yes, perceptions of people are weird, aren't they? I remember I was driving just near this fair roundabout, and just coming round it, and I saw this girl who'd started to cross the pedestrian crossing, and she just like collapsed and was laying there and looked like she was having a epileptic fit to me in my car. So I swerved around and blocked the traffic so that she was a bit protected, but I was on the wrong side really. So I stopped things coming at her forwards, but it was the people at the back that needed. And I had a boyfriend with me at the time. I said, right, just go and stop the traffic out there. And he's like, what? What? So well, just go and stop the traffic, because obviously she's not well. And I rang an ambulance. And they were really unsympathetic. They said, oh, student, she's probably just taken something. I said, well, no. This young woman appears, I watched her, she was walking down the road quite normally. She went to cross the road and then she collapsed. It looks to me like she's having an epileptic fit. I'm not an expert.
Are young women just not allowed to fall?
Maybe that's it. Maybe we've stumbled on the secret. Yeah, it was a very bizarre attitude, yeah.
From the ambulance? What the hell? I mean, that's not like that's going to be something they've never seen before.
No, and but it was just the presumption before even looking at her. I was just horrified. Just because you're young doesn't mean you're using drugs inappropriately.
That's the thing about unseen things.
Yeah. And hold up the sign. Actually not well.
Yeah, give us a break.
I guess in a way, a little thing, but the lanyards that have been used, particularly since pandemic, with the sunflowers on for people with hidden issues.
Great in an airport, you go straight through. Have you ever had one in the airport? It's amazing.
Oh right.
Yeah, you can go straight through, and I'm not. That sounds like I'm really taking advantage. But you know, it's tiring in the airport, isn't it?
Yeah, and often it's a very long walk.
So I hope it doesn't sound like I'm just cashing in. Yeah, it's really useful. And you just, where did I get it from? I think you just apply at the airport, or they've got a counter where you can get one. Definitely in Manchester they do. Just go pick one up. Brilliant.
Okay. Well, that's a useful tip for me and all the viewers. So we're just talking about our experiences of stumbling and the reactions of other people. I wonder what other people's experiences have been. Have you been like walked around or left or just?
And what is the solution to this? I mean, other than making people aware that it might just happen, I don't know.
I think the older you are, the more likely people are to assist you.
Get old, people.
Don't do that. So that's our Stripy Stumbling episode for today. We've talked about getting back into the groove with your old IRL mates.
IRL. We've talked about terrible photographs of your stripy clothes.
I think this could count as one for me.
Get your sensible shoes on, button up your cardigan, get old, else you can't fall over without being ignored or hassled. I think that's what we've learned.
That's our conclusion for today. So thank you for joining us. I've been Letitia.
I've been Jeanette.
See you next time.